Hello again and welcome to Catholic Social Teaching 101. I'm Jim Grant, and believe it or not, we're already on our 11th episode of this continuing series. Today's topic picks up actually where we left off last month on family. Our topic today is community. Families form community. We have three guests who are committed to a project called Faith in Community. And I'm going to let them introduce themselves. We have Father Art, we have Sukaina, and we have Thomas. They're going to tell you a little bit about themselves and their commitment to faith and community and why that project is so important for them and why they're here today. Father Art, could you start?
Sure. I'm Father Art Gramaje. I'm a Claretian missionary. I'm currently the pastor at St. Anthony Claret Parish on Chestnut, just north of Jensen. And I think that's
a good start.
Yeah.
Sukaina, what can you tell us about yourself?
My name's Sukaina. I am with Faith and Community here in Fresno. I attend and I'm affiliated with the Islamic Cultural Center of Fresno, and I'm excited to be a part of work that really unites different faith communities and brings together people from different backgrounds.
We're so glad you're here to join our panel.
Thank you for having me.
Thomas, thanks for assembling this awesome team.
It's great to be back. I'm really excited I was on the inaugural show here. It's great to be back and see how the program has continued to grow and to continue to discuss Catholic social teaching. I'm an organizer with Faith and Community here in Fresno.
That would bring up faith-based organizing. It's important that we begin our program explaining that concept. So once again, Thomas, you want to open up with what is faith-based organizing? Why would it be appropriate on a Catholic social teaching program?
You know, for me, Catholic social teaching is such a big part of my journey as a Catholic. Catholic social teaching really taught me the hope and relevance that our faith has for interfacing with the world and the problems of the world. I believe Catholic social teaching provides a lens to see and act in a way that avoids the economic and political quagmires, I never thought I'd use that word, to really begin to act from a place of love, from a place of justice, and to be really centered on healing the wounds of our neighbor. And that's what faith-based organizing aspires to do, really listen to the wounds of our neighbor, listen to the pain of our neighbor, listen to our own pain, and to find ways to act as a community to respond to that.
Sukaina, tell us how it is that you personally got involved in this faith-based project.
Absolutely. So what drew me to Faith and Community and faith-based organizing in general is the power that it has to highlight marginalized voices and really bring up the needs of those who are unheard. And even through my own experience, before being an organizer with Faith and Community, I was kind of serving in the context of a faith leader with the local Islamic Center and participating in the work in that sense. And I had the privilege of chairing a mayoral forum that we held earlier this year in April. So that was, if you remember that event, we had about 600 people from different faith communities in Fresno attend with all the candidates running for mayor. And I had a chance with myself and Delia, who is a parishioner at Father Art's parish, who is also a woman of color of an immigrant background, similar to myself. And she and I together were able to really be communicating with the candidates and kind of demonstrating the power of faith-based work in highlighting people of color that don't generally have a chance to be in that sphere. And some of the reactions I got afterwards surprised me when people were asking me that, how did you have a chance to be up there, and what's your affiliation? And they were really surprised to see a woman in hijab, which is the headscarf, a Muslim woman, in Fresno up there. So it really showed me the power of allowing other people to see themselves in that position as well.
That brings up Father Art, who, in a sense, hosted the event with his beautiful parish of San Antonio Claret. Father, can you tell us why St. Anthony Claret has always been so committed to social justice and faith in community?
Well, on a broad level, it's all about love. We believe that this is work about caring for our neighbor. Several weeks ago, we had the gospel of the prodigals.
Good Samaritan?
The Good Samaritan, sorry. Thank you.
The other guy.
The Good Samaritan. And Jesus saying, go and do likewise. Care for those who are on the margins. Care for those who are in need. And so on a broad level, it's really about love. Specifically with St. Anthony Claret, our founder of the Claretian missionaries, justice and peace was really important in how he did ministry and how he followed Jesus. And we inherit that charism. We've been part of the Justice, Peace, and the Integrity of Creation group in Rome, men and women's religious for years. And it's part and parcel of who we are as Claretian missionaries and how we proclaim the good news of Jesus' love.
Which you do so well all the time, Father Art. Thank you. And your parish. And going with Delia to Philadelphia was a blessing. So thanks for sharing, Delia. Signs of the Times. Oh, boy. I dusted off my book, which you can see. I had it back in the day. Back in '66, when this book was purchased, this is the same one. It's very valuable. It cost back in then 95 cents. And now it's worth millions of dollars because it's a relic. But it shouldn't be. It should be something we consult all the time. The documents of Vatican II set out a whole new direction, which, thank God, Pope Francis has picked up as his message. It's basically Vatican II. Signs of the Times, Gaudium et Spes. The Church says we must be more sensitive to the signs of the times. The Church must be responsive. So, Thomas, I challenge you as our lead organizer. Tell us about the signs of the times as Faith and Community is looking at them here in the Valley.
You know, when I think about the signs of the times that we face, to use the words of Pope Francis, it's clearly a lot of our families are facing crisis and see crisis in what the Pope calls an economy of exclusion. I wanted to share just a few words from the Joy of the Gospel, where the Pope says, just as the commandment, thou shalt not kill, sets a clear limit in order to safeguard the value of human life, today we also have to say, thou shalt not, to an economy of exclusion and inequality. Such an economy kills. The Pope says, how can it be that it is not a news item when an elderly homeless person dies of exposure, but it is news when the stock market loses 2 points? This is a case of exclusion. And, you know, I just want to localize that example. You know, a couple weeks ago in Kern County, in the midst of the heat wave, 3 migrant farm workers lost their lives. They died in the fields because of heat stroke, heat exhaustion. And what was so striking to me about that example was, you know, if you pick up the paper the next day, this economy of exclusion, the society of exclusion, didn't even name their names. It just said 3 migrant farm workers die. Right? We live in a world today, in a valley today, that those who are on the periphery, those who are excluded, don't even have the dignity of being named. And so that is one of the signs of the crisis and the ways that this system can dehumanize people.
Sukaina and Father Art, did you want to follow up with either other stories or other points about this signs of the times? Besides excluding people by the economic structures, what other forces of exclusion, what other forces of, these are the signs of the times, what are the signs?
Absolutely. What I would add to that is, you know, other than excluding them economically or socially, just not knowing each other is causing us to marginalize, you know, other communities, and being unfamiliar with them, and immigrant communities kind of not having a space to share their stories is causing people to not know them, and kind of turns into negative rhetoric. And so what we see is it manifests as hate crimes, or as, for instance, with the case of the Muslim community, and as far as going towards Islamophobia, when you see real like physical and verbal abuse and violence in communities because people haven't had a chance to know each other, because they're pushing apart instead of knowing each other. And, you know, in the Quran it says that we've created you as a nation so that you may know one another. And so instead of taking the time to kind of understand our differences and learn from that, we're pushing away. And I think that's one of the signs of the times we've seen manifest today.
Father Art, what about immigration, unemployment? What are some issues that you're seeing also personally as the shepherd of San Antonio Claret? What's going on that part of town? You're faithful.
Sure. Immigration is a key theme for us in peace and justice work, because it affects so many of our families at the parish. Because of it, people live in fear if they don't have the proper documents, and that affects a number of things. It affects how they're paid or how they're cheated, perhaps. It affects the relationship with police and the trust and the reticence of calling the police when they're needed because of fear that they might be taken away. So, and then just the general issue of poverty, when it is affecting our community in particular. So all of those things related to immigration is why we continue to put forward, the need for comprehensive immigration reform.
So the signs of the times are dark, almost bleak, but the Pope never relents on optimism and joy, the effort to be there as missionary disciples, to bring social justice where it is in the periferia, where it's missing, where it's in the outer limits, the fringes of society. So what Faith and Community does in this sense is with this faith leaders responding, clergy working together, communities with their shepherds, their pastors, their rabbis, their imams. So Father Art, beginning with you, what are some clergy experiences, efforts, these convenings that you've been party to, involved in, leader in? Tell us about clergy bonding over this.
Well, over the past months, we've been hearing how in each of the faith traditions, how and why justice and social justice outreach is important, and kind of what the background is. And what it, I think, showed me is that even with the differences of belief and expression, we have commonalities for the people that we serve, and those really trump everything in terms of doctrine and dogma. It's really about, again, the people that we serve and the common good, and you see that throughout the different traditions, and that's why the various clergy and faith communities are involved, because we see the importance and the imperative nature of this.
One thing is about the different communities, faith communities, but then Thomas, help us out on this other thing that's more geographic. This Faith in the Valley is an effort to unite not only the local group that we call Faith in Community, but there are 4 other partners spread out over the valley. Introduce us to that concept of Faith in the Valley and what that hopes to do.
Yeah, so we've been in the midst of this big question facing us has been, how do we respond to the crisis in that's facing families across the valley in a way that's helping us create Catholic social teaching, right? Solidarity, helping people see each other and their pain in a way that helps us stand together and in the work for justice. And so over the past year, we've had 3 regional clergy convenings where Bishop Armando, Bishop Blair, many other bishops, imams, rabbis came together to really discern the signs of the times and really look at what's it going to take to create hope in our communities. And that hope has begun to manifest itself in this project called Faith in the Valley, which is an idea of bringing together faith communities and different faith-based community organizations from Stockton, Merced, Modesto, Kern, and Fresno together into one kind of regional unified body that's able to, in a deeper way, hear the cry of the poor and make a priority for the poor and those who are suffering and excluded in the valley, to realize. My dream, my hope is that we realize that our salvation is all tied together.
It really is. It's not only, as you see witnessed around this table, people of different faith, people of different gender, people of different geographic settings, but we are also geographically needing to unite the valley because there are some common issues, some very, very discernible signs of the times, unique to us as the Appalachia of the West. We are that. That is what we are. So thank you for doing what you do in Faith in Community and Faith in the Valley. We take our break right now, but when we come back, we're going to look at what Faith in the Valley has planned as an effort to energize all of us to move forward with a big event on September 10th. Stay tuned.
Celebrate Sunday Mass with KNXT from beautiful St. Anne's Chapel every Sunday at 7:30 a.m. and again at 5 p.m. This weekly broadcast of the Sunday Mass has become the cornerstone of diocesan evangelization, touching thousands of viewers, both Catholic and non-Catholic alike, with the Word of God and the liturgy of the Eucharist. Sunday Mass from St. Anne's Chapel, 7:30 a.m. and 5 p.m. on KNXT TV, your Catholic television station.
Welcome back to the second half of our program with Faith in Community, sharing around not only their local organizing project, which is here in the Fresno area, but introducing us to a broader concept of Faith in the Valley, which includes everything from Stockton on down to Bakersfield. I wonder if Sukaina could introduce us to some projects, some initiatives, some real programs, some real issues that you're working on this valley level that is not just localized, but it's broader based. What are some of those things, Sukaina?
Absolutely. And Jim, like you mentioned, across the valley there are a lot of common threads that we see, some common pains, stories that are resonating throughout different congregations and faith communities. And we've been listening for the past year of Faith and Community has been working on to maybe about 3,000 people throughout our congregations, having really sacred listening sessions. And what we've come up with are common issues around jobs, around incarceration, the need for improved clean energy job opportunities. So we're really hoping specifically to decrease the number of people that are behind bars across the valley. We're hoping to increase investment in education, in job training, to really provide real opportunities for our young people, to provide opportunities for training that really gives them sustainable livelihood afterwards. And we're hoping to increase by tens of thousands, hopefully new opportunities for clean energy jobs too, and really take away from dirty energy sources and provide clean energy as an environmental justice point, but also as a focus on increasing job opportunities too.
There's one thing you mentioned I want to throw to Thomas, I think. Decrease people behind bars. That sounds a little bit like Prop 47, which was a major success, a major commitment that Faith and Community spearheaded. Briefly introduce us to that success of getting people to see justice can be different than we're used to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Prop 47 back in 2014, the Catholic bishops, California Catholic bishops, groups like ours, Faith and Community, PICO, came together and helped pass a proposition that actually helped create redemption and give a second chance to people who have or had low-level felonies on their record that were preventing them from living and accessing jobs, accessing housing, accessing opportunity, and it was really condemning people to a life of being, in some ways, a second-class citizen, right? So Prop 47 has helped thousands of people across the valley remove felonies from their record, and also helped decriminalize and take away the stigma of some of these low-level felonies like minor drug possession, petty theft, and things like that.
Now, why I wanted to bring up Prop 47, which looks like we're going backwards, it's only to remind us there are measurable successes. There are victories. There are things to celebrate that Faith and Community and the Church and the Islamic Cultural Center and Temple Beth Israel and all the partners have succeeded. Now, let's talk a little bit about the project that's on your plates right now. September 10th, you have a major convening here in Fresno. I wonder who wants, is it Thomas to start us off? Tell us about that project and what it is that you're hoping to achieve or to do to bring to people's attention and then to move forward. So begin with, what are the issues you want to address, Thomas?
Yeah, so I think the fundamental issue that a lot of people of faith, that I hear a lot across the valley, is like, what do we do now? How can we respond as a congregation, as a parish? And you know, in broad strokes, what we've been working on with parishes across the county, across the valley, really, is helping to form social justice ministries, right? And so, if folks want to get involved and figure out what are the issues facing your people, ask your pastor if you can form a social justice ministry to really hear the cry of the poor. If you already have a social justice ministry, you know, there's opportunities to build relationships with other churches and congregations in your area to really increase the voice and bring people in from the margins to really have a bigger impact. So those are two things people can do now, and reach out to Jim or myself or anyone on our team if folks are interested in forming their own social justice ministry. So that, I think, is kind of a broad stroke that gets us a little bit towards what we're planning towards in September. But I'd love to invite Father as well to share a little bit about what that's looking like at St. Anthony Claret.
Yeah, it's kind of exciting. We talked about it at Masses yesterday.
Wow. Right during Mass. Now that's great. Right during Mass.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Good. You don't wait till Tuesday night when no one comes.
Well, it's part and parcel of our faith, and that's we try to be consistent with that. And for example, we're trying to encourage all of the parish groups to send folks to the September 10th in representation from their groups, but also to realize that peace and justice is not a separate ministry, but it's part of each ministry. And so I've challenged our leaders to figure out what part of peace and justice and the integrity of creation is part of your specific ministry. I'll give you an example. Saturday night, we have once a month, we have Adoration of the Blessed Sacrament all night long. They're Adoración Nocturna. And so they ask for a petition each month, the pastor's petition and the Pope's petition. So they pray for these things in front of the Blessed Sacrament. So I said, well, pray for the success of September 10th.
Wow.
And I said, this is going to unite our community organizing efforts from Bakersfield to Stockton. And your thing is to pray. And to pray for peace and justice in the valley is what you can do. And you can send some people too. So that's one example. I'm trying to cater that, well, challenge each leader to integrate that into their ministries.
Awesome. Thomas, you've got one thing that we might want to fit in now to make sure it fits. Tell us where Pope Francis becomes, in a sense, giving us a theme here to work on during this year of mercy.
Yeah, so, you know, on September 10th, everyone's alluded to, we're having this big event at the Fresno Convention Center from 11 to 2 p.m., and people of faith, community partners across the valley are invited to come and really listen to each other and begin to dream about what a valley where everybody matters could look like. And when I was thinking about this, I recently read the papal bull on the Year of Mercy, the Pope's document on the Year of Mercy, and I just wanted to share what the Pope says is, in this special Year of Mercy as Catholics, let us open our eyes and see the misery of the world, the wounds of our brothers and sisters who are denied their dignity, and let us recognize that we are compelled to heed their cry for help. May we reach out to them and support them so they can feel the warmth of our presence, our friendship, and our fraternity. May their cry become our own, and together may we break down the barriers of indifference that too often reign supreme and mask our own hypocrisy and egoism. So I hope and I pray that on September 10th we begin to do that, to open our eyes and to really heed their cry for help.
Sukaina, what's one of your hopes and dreams to have realized on the 10th?
Absolutely. And, the words of the Pope resonate for me in my faith as well. And so I'm hoping that for September 10th for us can be the start of a new awakened vision for the Valley, and that it really gives chances for other faith communities to come together and see each other as allies. And, having 1,500 people in this room together in front of elected officials, inviting them into partnership with us, not having them preach at us, but really listening to our concerns and inviting them to work with us on this new path for racial, social, and economic justice going forward. I'm hoping that'll be something positive that comes out of September 10th as a paved way for our journey together with them.
Thomas, where do they find resources about September 10th? You said it's all over social media. Introduce us to that concept.
Yeah, so we have a flyer with the website, which I think we can show to folks. That there's a website where you can register now and see the flyer and access more information. You can also find it on the Faith and Community Facebook page or on our website, faithinfresno.org. And also at your parish, if your parish doesn't already have info in your bulletin, ask your pastor if he can publish something.
Father Art, I got to thank you for saying that at a prayer gathering of Eucharistic adoration, you can even find that helping people see that, almost like St. Therese, you wind up being a missionary while you're praying. You wind up doing more than just being there. Thank you for that. Any last thought, Father Art? Because you should have one last thought. 30 seconds.
Oh, I'm looking forward to the 10th just because imagining all of those faith communities from this geographical region in one place at one time, the energy is really has to be fantastic. And I think a lot of our folks are really curious as to how that really looks. And so I'm looking forward to that.
Sukaina, 10 seconds. How was it being with us today?
It was terrific. Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to share this space with you all and really convene in a way where we can reflect on how important this is going to be for us.
Thomas, 5 seconds.
Thank you all. It's been such a pleasure to be with you, and pray for us as we continue to find ways to live out Catholic social teaching and in this special year of mercy.
I want to thank our panel because it's really been a joy to have Father Art and Sukaina and Thomas share from their own personal places what they believe about social justice, how they are working daily, and how in their groups and communities they are bringing those concepts into reality. A lot of us think about social justice, a lot of us pray about it. This is a group that commits to it daily. Let's join them. Till next time, God bless.